Hi everyone, in today's exciting video, we are diving into most common powerful Python functions that will elevate your project and assignments to the next level. So let's get started.
First, we will target string.capitalize function. Let me take one simple string, that is coding news today. So what string.capitalize function does, it returns the copy of the string with its first character capitalized and the rest of the letters are in lower case. Okay, let me take s1 str dot capitalize. If you run the program, so you will see the first character of the string is capitalized, right? Okay, always remember it will capitalized only first character of the string. Okay, now let's see what is string.center function. So string.center function returns a new centered string of the specified length which is padded with the specified characters, right? So the default character is space. Okay, let's see how it works. For example, we want to put some space from left and right on this string, so we can use string.center function. So I'll be taking as 2 str.center 25, and as a white space you can consider a dot should be added from left and right. Okay, so if I print as 2, so you will see dot on left and right side of this string. Okay, if you're in the program, you see we have dotted here, right? Left and right. And what is this 25? It means length of str. So you will see that it is 17, right? So 25 minus 17, which means 8. So 8 space will be distributed on both side, left and right, means 4 space on left and 4 space on right. Okay, if I add 6 more space and make it 31, which means 2 more spaces from left and right would be added, right? If you're in the program, so we will have 3 more spaces on left and right both. Okay, this is how it works. Now let's see how string.count function works. It actually searches the specified substring in the given string and returns an integer indicating occurrences of the substring. Okay, so as 3 str.count and I say O, right? So I want to count O in entire string, right? So it will return me the number of times it exists in this string, right? If I run the program, so it will show you it is exist 2 times in this string. Okay, if I want to count any specific word, how many times news comes in this string, so you will see it will always 1, right? Coding news today. If I add news again in this string, so it will returns 2 as news existed in this string. Okay, we have more provisioning here. If you want to specify the range of the indexes in the entire string and you want to count how many times these words exist in the string, so it will also tell you, right? I want to start index from 2, I want to reach up to 10th index, right? Now if you run the program, so you will see that is 0. Okay, because 10th index would be end up here, right? That's what it is not shown, right? If I make it 20, it will be shown now as 1. Okay, so this is how it works. You can also define from which range you want to count your characters or words. Okay, now let's see what is starts with function. Starts with function returns true if string starts with a specified suffix, otherwise it returns false. Okay, this string starts with, okay, if I run the program, so it will say true. Yes, it started with coding. If I make it wrong, then it will return you false, right? It is not started with this particular word. We can also use range here, right, from which index you want to check. Okay, 1 to 5, I want to check whether od, this particular word, is there with the string or not, but within this range, right? If you run the program, so you will get true, right? Because od is just started with first index, right? 1. Okay, if I make co, so then it will tell you false. If you make it 0, now it will show you true. Okay, you see. Next method we have, that is endswith. It is same as string, but it will check the suffix from the end. Okay, right? So if I run the program, so it will tell you that is s5, s5. So it will return you the false because co is not presented at the end. If I make it news 0 to 5, so it will tell you it is still false because we have a specified range. If you remove the range, it will return you true. Okay, if I make it 1, so it will return you false. Okay, same as you can use the range also, right? Okay, it is true, it is in the range. Next method we have, that is str.expandtabs, which means it returns a string with all tabs character /t, right, replaced with one or more space depending on the number of characters before this t and specified the tab size. Okay, I have some code handy, right? So here we have some string text hello, okay, which will first print this string, okay, this value, and then it will use expand tabs, right? Okay, we have not specified anything here. We are specified just use 2 tabs, 4 tabs, and 10 tabs, right? So when you're in the program, so you will see, so each t will contain 4 character space, right? In the first we have 4 character space, right, in between each characters, right? Second, we are saying expand tabs, which means it will add white space. By default 8 character it will add, right, between each character. 8 characters white space it will add. Okay, in the second line it will add 2 characters, right? In the fourth statement it will add 4 characters, right, which is equals to this statement, right? And lastly it will add 10 characters between each character. Okay, the find function finds the first occurrence of the specified value, right? The find function returns -1 if the value is not found. If you create s1 dot str dot find, if you want to find any term, let me find od and then print, so you will get the index, right, from which index this string is getting started. Okay, you see 1, which means we are starting this od from first index 0 and 1. So this is one way to find indexes. However, we are getting od 2 times, right, but it will tell you the first occurrence of the index. Second way of finding the term, we can specify a range also, right? I'm saying again s1, so let me take start 2 and would be 15, right? So in this index range this term would be find out. Okay, let's search. So we are getting index number 13, which means we are getting index of this position 13. Okay, because od is presented at the first index, so this range did not consider its first occurrence, right? So the first occurrence of this term would be this on basis of this range. This is how it works. If you change it to 0 to 5, so now it will tell you the 1. Okay, if you're in the program again, you see it's on 1. Second function, that is index. which is almost the same as find, but the only difference is that the index method raises an exception if the value is not found. S1 again dot str dot index. So you can find OD, right? So it will find you. So on which index this term is located, right? This is first. This is same as find, but if I mention wrong term here, which is not exist in this string, so it will raise you the exception, right? If you're in the program now, so you see substring not found. So this is a difference between find and index. Index function raises the exceptions if term is not found in the string. The other way of using index function is the same, right? With the range, and then v, and we can say 0 to 5, right? So it will give you the same output, right, as find was giving us. If you change the range, let's say 6 to 35, so it will give you different index, this time 13, right here. Okay, but the same case, if the term is not found, let me QOD, and then you will see the same exception, value error, substring not found. Now let's move to our next method, that is alphanumeric, right? Is a num function returns true if all the characters are alphanumeric, right? Meaning alphabet letter A to Z and number 0 to 9. This is called alphanumeric values. Okay, 1, 2, right? So this value you can say this is alphanumeric. We can now use this is alphanumeric function. Okay, as 1, right? So it will return you true or false, right? If you're in the program, so it will say whether this value is alphanumeric or not. Correct. And then rerun. Yeah. So it is saying true. Okay. This is our value. It is saying this value is alphanumeric because we have A to Z characters and 0 to 9 digits. If we are passing the wrong values like white space, blank space, right? Like hash, percentile, right? Ampersand, question mark. So these type of values are not alphanumerics, right? If any of these value we pass here in the string, so it will return you false because this would be considered as non-alphanumeric values. You see, it is false. Okay. If you put percentile, it will again show you this false. Okay. If you remove it, it will show you true. Okay. So this is how is alphanumeric function works. We have another method that is alpha, right? So is alpha function returns true if all the characters are alphabet letters A to Z, and print str is alpha, right? So this is a function which will return as the value true or false, right? The same thing we are going to print if you're in the program, so it will show you true. The value is alpha, it is not numeric, right? Neither alphanumeric, so it is alpha only, true. If I put any of the value which is numeric, so it will return you the false, right? You see, false. And even you cannot use space, hash, percentile, right? You cannot use these values, only you can use A to Z characters string here. Now let's see other method, that is digit. Okay, the is digit function returns true if all the characters are digits, otherwise return false. Okay, the same code, right? And this time I'm saying 1 2 3, and we will check now s1 dot str dot is digit, right? And if you're in the program, so you will see this is true because we have all characters as digit, right? If I put any of the value as alpha, it will show you the false, right? You see, it is showing false. Okay, it means all the characters should be digit, then only this method will return. And one more thing on is digit method, so in python superscript and subscripts, right, usually written using unicode values, right? And these unicode values are are also considered digit characters, right? How they look like, I have some code handy to make you understand these thing correctly, right? These are unicode characters, right? These are containing alpha and the numeric also. So this type of values will be considered as digit, right? If you're in the program, so you will see it is showing true and true. Okay, These Unicode character represent, like, this is 0, this is a power of any number, right? If you want to check how Unicode characters look like, so you can see this link, okay? It is on Wikipedia. You can see the list of Unicode characters and their code as well, right? I have some code which will return true or false if the value is decimal or not, right? Its range is 0 to 9, okay? Run the program, so it will show you false because we have a float value, right? If I remove this float, now it will be a decimal value, so it will return true. If you put any space here, so you will get false, right? So your string would be having numerics only, right? Okay, if you put hash, so it will still show you false, right? Okay, so this is how this function works. It will return true or false if the value is decimal. Okay, there is one more scenario with that. In case of Unicode characters in the string, so it behaves differently. I have some code, it is showing these are the Unicode characters, right? Unicode characters we can see easily on the internet, right? If you type in Unicode characters, you will see this type of codes against the characters, right? It is 0, okay, numeric value, but its Unicode character representation is this. Okay, so this is a different Unicode character. So is decimal function also take care of these Unicode characters, right? If you run this program, so a and b, these variables having different Unicode characters, right? Accordingly it is returning true or false, right? If you see this statement true, it is returning for 0, okay, means 0 is a decimal value, yes, so that's why it is returning true. On the other side we have Unicode character g, right? So it is returning false. Now let's see our next function, that is isnumeric. Let me remove this. Okay. It returns true if all characters in the string are numeric characters, numbers, right? It returns false if a string contains one or more non-numeric characters, either special character, either alphas characters. Okay. If I use is numeric and I run the program with the same value, so it will show you false, right? This is not a numeric value. As soon as I remove this hash, so it will say it is true, thus this is numeric, right? If you press white space, then it will return false. If you use any alpha character, it will return you false, okay, in this case as well. Now let's see next method, that is space. So Python string is space function returns true if all characters in the string are white space characters. Otherwise it returns false. If I leave white space here, I use then is space, and if you run the program, so it will return you true because S1 is containing a white space. That is why it is returning true. Okay, if I remove this white space and I try to run the program, so it will return you false because there is no white space in this string. Okay, if you put any character and you leave some space, then in this case also it will return false, right? It will not consider this as a white space because we have inputted values, other characters as well along with this white space, so it will not return you true. Okay, if value is containing more than white spaces, more than one white spaces, then only it will return true, right? This is the condition for this function. All right, even this is space function take cares the white space characters, right? Like slash t, okay, slash n, slash v, slash f. So white characters like these characters. Okay, so space we have seen. Okay, so if you put slash t, right, so it will take care of this slash t, more than one slash t. Okay, so it will take care. Here we are saying we are inputting slash t multiple times, right, in this string. So it will return true because it handles these white space characters also, right? Slash t, or you input slash n, slash v, slash f, any of the white space characters if you use in your string, so it will handle. But if you put any of the character into the string, so then this function will return false, right? You see, is title. So is title returns true if all the words in the string are title cased, otherwise it returns false. Title cased means if I input any string like, so this is a title case. Okay, first character is upper. Okay, for each word is title, then you will see it is true because these words are titled. Okay, If I put any of the character, first character in the lower case, it will return you false, right? Because these string now having non-title characters, right? This is non-title character. Okay, if I remove this second word, then it will return true. Okay, if I put any space in the string, it will still return true because this value is still titled. Okay, but as soon as I put any lowercase characters here, the first character lower, then it will return false, right? So this is the case for his title. If I put any numeric value here, so it will still return true. Okay, because it will consider these words, right, as a titled. Okay, now let's see our next method, that is isupper. Isupper returns true if all letters in the string are in uppercase, and return false if even one of them is in the lower case. If I put like this coding, this is uppercase and I am using whether it is uppercase or not. Okay, so if I run the program, so it will return true, right? Because all the characters in this string are in uppercase. Okay, as soon as I typing any character in the lower case in the string, so it will return false. Okay, so this is the condition. I put one white space, so it will return true. Okay, if I put any numeric value, so still it will return true, but as soon as you type any character in lower case, so it will return you false straight away. Now let's see our next method, that is lower. So this is just opposite to this is upper function, right? And if I use is lower, right? So it will return you false because we have upper characters in the string. If I put it coding in lower cases, right, then it will return true because this condition is matched, right? It is in lower cases, right? As soon as I put any character in uppercase, so it will return false. Okay, if I put any white space, okay, but it will return true. So if I put any special character like dollar, so it will return true, right? Any white space, it is still returning true, but uppercase, it will return you false. Okay, we are going to discuss what are built-in string ljust rjust function in Python. You must be knowing left text align, right text align, and center align on the Microsoft Word document. If I open the Microsoft Word document, so there is a one line. This is by default center align, right? If you click on the left, so it will be aligned left, right? If you click on right, so it will align this line at the right side. And we have one more button that will make your paragraph justified. Okay, which means it will create a clean look along the left and right side of the page. Okay, the same type of functionality, left align and right align, we are going to see in our today's video. First we will see what is ljust function. So as you know, the ljust function will left align the string using a specified character as the fill character. So let me take one string. Okay, so s1, and I want to make this string left justify. Okay, so what I will do, I will use one function ljust, and this function is expecting, width and fill characters, two parameter is it is expecting 15 characters, right? So what would happen in the result, you will see left align this coding text and rest of the characters, right, will be filled as white space. Okay, if you run the program, so however you cannot see it right from the left, text is left justified, but if you want to check how many characters it is filled space, so you can specify any of the character, right? Let me make hash, so it will show you total 15 characters, right, with this word, but rest of the character will be filled with this fill character symbol, right? You see, you can specify anything, right? If you want to put dollar, it will show you the dollar, right, in your fill characters. Okay, so now this coding text is left justify. By default, white space is added. Okay, if you want to replace your white space with any other character, you can use the character. We have one more scenario in left just function. Many a times we want to show our output in form of rows and columns, right? In the output window, sometimes we need it. So how we can use ljust function to show this type of output, right? Rows and columns with left justified text. Okay, for example, I have some list, right, where each item of list is as a list. Okay, if you print data, so it will show you the output very weird, right? Like this. Oh, it is not readable, right? If you want to make this complete output in rows and columns in a better format, okay, so ljust function will help you to make it more cleaner. Okay, so how we can do it? For I in data, right? For loop, right? For, let's say, item in I, okay, and then we can use print, and we can convert this item into the string format. Okay, and then we can now apply ljust function on it. We want to make this each value will be left justify in total 15 characters, right? And I want to specify my fill character as a blank, right? This value, okay, and at the end I want to leave this, blank value, right? It should not be anything, right? So next line will start immediately. Okay, so this is the only thing we have to do, and we can use just print a simple function, right, like here. Okay, if you're in the program, you will be able to see your data into this cleaner format, right? You see, so name, country, and mobiles. So each value, right, is left justify with 15 characters, right? Wherein we have used fill character as this blank value. Okay, by using two for loops and using this blank print function will give you this type of output, but you have to use ljust function. So now let's see what is rjust function in Python. So rjust function will right align the string, right, using a specified character as the fill character. It has also two parameters, length and fill character. Okay, fill character, you can use any of the character as a fill character. Okay, want to use s2 string result 1 s2 dot rjust, right? And I want to say 20. Okay, print result, and if you run the program, so you will see the text coding would be right aligned. You see, it is right justify. Here we have left few white spaces, right? Out of 20, we have 6 characters inside, 14 characters are added as blank, okay, on the left, okay, but text is right justified. So this is how it works. If you want to specify any other character as a fill space, you can use, okay, you want to use asterisk, so it will add asterisk as a white space. Okay, you see, partition method splits the string at the first occurrence of the separator and returns tuple containing the part before the separator and the part after the separator. I have one string with me, right? I'm going to create partition on basis of one separator. If I use the method text.partition, so you will see the documentation here. So it is expecting one separator word, right? Partition the string into three parts using the given separator. Okay, so this will search for the separator in the string. If the separator is found, returns with three tuple containing the part before the separator, and the part after it. Okay, let me take Python. So if you print, so you will see, so it will break this entire string into tuple. Okay, you see, so we have got a one tuple, right? The first item of tuple is, as it said, it breaks the string before the separator as a first item. That is first item. Second, if it is found, so it will be same as separator. That is second item. And third would be after the separator, it's a complete string. We have more scenario if we are specifying case sensitive string, right, as a separator. So it will give you the tuple, but it will not found anything, right? It will give you first item, but rest items would be blank, right? Okay, because this word is not found because it is case sensitive. We have one more scenario. A separator may be exist multiple times, right? Like is, if you take is as a separator, so what it will do, it will found the first occurrence in the string, right? Okay, then it will create partitions. If you see, so it is th, right? As a separator, it found is, and rest of the words in the string would be shown as item 3. You see, okay, it is not like it will create multiple partition on the tuple like wherever we are founding is, no. But I will give you one more scenario where this partition function is useful. For example, we have a long URL, right, like this is Amazon website URL. So we wanted to get the domain name, right, from this URL. So then this method is helpful. Okay, so how? And then I will take URL dot partition two slashes, right? If you print result, so it will give you tuples. This is the first item of the tuple, this is second, and this is third, right? You will get your string which you want to use, right, to get your domain name, right? If you're in the program, so you will get this string. Okay, now you can apply the partition on this string again, right? And you can take result again in the same variable. You can put, and partition can be used again. This time you use single slash, right? It will create partition on this. Okay, so if you print 0 in this result, okay, so it will give you the domain name exact. Okay, if you're in the program, so you will get the domain name. Okay, so this is how this partition function may help us, okay, to get the domain name from the URLs. Now let's move to our next method, that is remove prefix. So remove prefix method removes the prefix and returns the rest of the string. If the prefix string is not found, then it returns the original string. Okay, it is introduced in Python 3.9.0 version. Okay, so let me take one s1, and then let me take result same variable name, and s1 dot remove prefix. Okay, if you see the documentation on it, you will see return a string with the given prefix string removed if present. Okay, let me take this is a prefix, and if you print the result now, so you will see this would be found, and is Python would be written as a remaining string. Okay, from this one. Okay, we are getting a string is Python because this prefix is found. If I make any of the mistake here, right, let's say I put e, so this prefix would not be found here, right? Then it will return original string which we have specified here. If I use Python, right, so it will not be removed, right, because prefix always start with starting points. Okay, Python is not removed, so original string is returned. One more scenario, let me take this I, right? So this I, this is upper. Okay, here we are checking case sensitiveness. Okay, so when you run the program, so it will not found because this string is case sensitive, but we have not specified the prefix as we are expecting. Okay, so original string is returned because I is in lowercase. If I put I in uppercase, now it will return rest of the string, you see, as Python. Okay, so that is how this remove prefix works. Now let's move to our next method, that is remove suffix, right? It is just opposite to the remove prefix method. So the function, this method removes the suffix and returns the rest of the string. If the suffix string is not found, then it returns original string. Okay, it introduced in Python 3.9. Okay, I'm using 3.12 s1, and instead of remove prefix, I'm using remove suffix, right? if you see the documentation, so you will see return a string with the given suffix string removed if present, right? So if I put like Python, so you will get the string before that, right? Okay, if you're in the program, so you will see this is, we get this is, okay? You can put anything like your string may be like, okay? So if I say now programming, but it will not remove because programming is coming at the end, right? If I make programming here, so then this string would be written, you see, right? And if I make double MING only, so then it will return a string as well, right? You see, the rest of the string is written because this string is found. If I make it M, we check, if we check case sensitiveness, so it will not remove, right? You see, right? If you make it G, so it will give you the rest of the string. If you apply blank, let's check blank also, right? It will give you the original string. Nothing found like that. Okay. So what is replace function? The replace function returns a copy of the string where occurrences of a substring are replaced with another substring. We are just replacing our old string with the new one. Okay. I have one sample string with me. Okay. So if you print, so it will show in the output window, right? As it is. If you're in the program, so you can see Python is a programming language. If you want to replace any specific word, right? Okay, if you pick is and you want to replace is with different words, so it can be replaced by replace function. Okay, so let me take result here. I'll be taking this replace function on a string type, right? And if you see the documentation of this replace function, so it is asking for the old, which is saying old string you want to replace, the new substring which would replace the old string, and count, which is optional, the number of times you want to replace the old substring with the new one, right? Okay, so these all three parameters works. And if you replace like is with is a query, right? And you're in the program, so this is will be replaced with is a query, right? If you print the result, so you will see is replaced with is a variable, right? And a is as it is. Okay, so this is the purpose of this replace function. It is replacing our old string with new one. This is the only thing, right? Okay, let's say we have this ng, right? This ng word twice, ng and ng. Okay, so it will replace this word with any of the character, right? If you want to put like dollar, right, it will replace if you're in the program. So you see the dollar is replaced on two places. Okay, because ng found on two places, ng and ng, right? So that is how this function works. We have one more scenario where this replace function checks case sensitiveness. Okay, so for example, let me copy the same code again, and instead of ng in lower, I want to make ng in upper. Okay, so it will not replace, right, ng, because ng in upper cases will not found in this string, so it will not replace anything. Okay, you see the string is as it is. Okay, you see the string is as it is not change because ng not found. Replace function take care of this case sensitiveness. Okay, now let's see what is this count meaning, right? Let me make ng in lower. Okay, now what I want to just say, okay, just to replace on one occurrence only, right? Not two, right? Ng is found on two places, right? So it will only replace this place, right? This place, because it will find first occurrence if you're in the program. So you see the dollar is just replaced here only, right? Not here. Okay, if I put two occurrences, means it will found ng on two places and it will replace on both places, right? If you're in the program again, so you will see the dollar is updated on two places, okay, wherever ng is found. If I put ng again here, so it will not replace ngY, right? It is as it is, right? Because occurrences are two only, right? It will found first two occurrences, right? First two occurrences, right? If you put ng somewhere here, right? So it will be replaced first, right? So dollar will be replaced here, right? But it will not update here, okay? Only two occurrence. First two occurrence is it will take care. Okay, so this is how a replace function works in Python. What is rfind function? Rfind function returns the rightmost index of the substring if found in the given string. If it is not found, then it returns -1. Okay, so we have simple string which is printed right here. Okay, if I use s1 dot rfind, you will find the documentation of this function which says substring. Okay, it is the substring that needs to be searched in the given string. Okay, second parameter, it is saying starting position where the substring needs to be checked within the string. Okay, and end position where suffix needs to be checked within the string. Okay, and what it returns, it returns integer, which means it will return a index of the position of the substring. Okay, so let's try to find out one string. Okay, let me take is word, right? This string, what is the index of this string? And if you print result, you will see the index is 7, right? It is starting from 7th index, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, right? So this is the purpose of rfind function, which returns the rightmost index. If you put is here, right, then you will get a different index, right? You see 24, because as per the definition of this function, it is saying it will return a rightmost index of the substring. Okay, this. Okay, so this is clear. One important note here: if start and end indexes are not provided, right, start and end, right, these not provided, then by default it takes 0 and length -1 as a end. Okay, so here we have not provided any start or end value. So let's use these arguments. I want to start from 0, okay, and I wanted to stop at somewhere 15. Okay, then you will see the different index this time, right? If you run the program, so you will see this is 7 now, because from where we want to start and till which index we want to check this substring. So in this range 0 to 15, we will get only this substring, not this. If I use another is, right, in this range, so then this time it will give you different, right, 12, because rightmost index it will return on basis of this range. Let's check one different case. If we don't find any word like that, so what it will return if you're in the program, so is not there, right? So it will return -1. Okay, so this word is not exist in this entire string, that is why it is returning -1. Okay, otherwise it will return exact index of the substring. I have a real time scenario where this rfind function can be useful for you, right? Being a developer, many a times we need to check email ID's domain name. Domain name is gmail.com, microsoft.com, amazon.com. These are domains, right? Sometimes if you are asking user to input email id and you want to check which domain it is in the email id, so this function may help you, right? I have one code handy to save some time. You can see this is email, right? For example, we are asking user to input email, but in the email we want to check which domain name user is providing. If it is our domain, then we will allow user to input. Otherwise, we will ask user to change the email ID, right? So here what we are doing, this is the email ID user is inputting somewhere, right? And with the help of our find function, we are finding the index from where domain is getting started, right? We have the position domain index, and from domain index we are doing some slicing, right? We are finding then this string, right? after this symbol we are finding complete string. Okay, once we get this complete string, then we are checking whether this is our domain or not. In this, if it is our domain, then we will say domain matched, otherwise it will say no, domain is not matched. Okay, let me run this program. You see, domain matched means the email id which we are providing, actually it is containing the domain microsoft.com. Okay, if you want to check what domain index it is returning, you will understand it. And even I want to print domain as well, right? If you run the program again, so it will first tell you, okay, the index is starting from fifth, right? From where we are getting domain, right? So this is the index 0 1 2 3 4 5, right? From fifth index we are getting the domain, which means, right, we are getting this index with the help of rfind function. Okay, and what is the domain? The domain is this, right? We applied some slicing here, right? On basis of this index from fifth, start from fifth and reaches up to end of the string. So this is the slicing criteria here, right? And we are getting the domain from the email. So this is a domain. Now we are checking whether this domain is equal with our expected domain or not. Then it is showing domain matched. Otherwise, it is showing domain not matched. For example, let me input gmail.com. Then message would be changed because condition will be dissatisfied. Okay, you see domain gmail dot not matched. Okay, okay. So sometimes this type of code we implement on our applications, and we need to check the domain name, and you can use this rfind function in that scenarios. Rindex function is pretty similar to rfind function. The only difference is rindex function will raise an exception if the substring is not found, while rfind function will not raise any exception, even it will return -1 value. Okay, so this was the difference. We will see the difference practically later in the video. So what rIndex function does, right? This rIndex function finds the last occurrence of the specified value if the substring is found, otherwise it raises value error exception. Okay, and the syntax is pretty much same. Okay, if I use this rIndex function on the string type rIndex, you will see in the documentation we have substring which we are finding, from which index we are starting, and at which point we are going to stop. Okay, so in the range we are finding one substring. It is clearly saying raise value error when the substring is not found. Okay, now let's see this. If I want to find is, okay, so it will return you the last occurrence of this string into this s1, right? If you run the program, so you will see that is 27, which means this is this index, right? This index of the character. Okay, because is exists 3 times, right, in this string. As per the definition, this rIndex function will return last occurrence of the specified value, right? This value. If we do not find any such string, right, in this string, so you will get a exception, right? If you're in the program, so you will see substring not found. Okay, so we have to be very careful if we are finding anything and which is not found in the string, so it will raise exception, right? We can use these functions parameter as well. If we want to define a starting index, right, I want to start from fifth index, right? Okay, so it will give you the same result. Okay, it will give you the same result 27, because this function is returning the last occurrence in the string. Okay, if you use another parameter, that is and, so then you will see the difference, right? And in this range only, just give me the last occurrence of this substring, right? Now result would be different. This time you see it is 12, because in this range we are getting the index probably here, right? That is why it is giving the last occurrence. Okay, if I delete this is word, now your index would be changed, because there will be only one index which will be different. Okay, if you're in the program, so you will see the seventh, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. In many interviews, these questions often ask, right, what is the difference between rIndex and rfind function? If you use rfind function, then we will check the difference, right? Okay, rIndex function and rfind function, we are checking the same value, same substring, even the range is the same. Okay, if you're in the program, so you will see the output is same in both the cases. But make a note on the difference. If rIndex function does not find any substring, then it will raise you exception, right? I'm putting the substring same in both the methods. One of the method will raise exception, this function, but this function will not, right? If you're in the program, you see first this function raise exception and none of the other statements executed, right? If I put these statements first, because rfind function will never give you any exceptions, it will return -1. Okay, if you're in the program again, now you see the -1 is displayed because rfind function did not find any such substring in the string, while on the other hand rfind function raises the exception, right? This string substring did not find in the string. Okay. What is rpartition function? The rpartition function searches for the last occurrence of a specified thing and split the string into a tuple containing three elements, right? You know tuple. Tuple is a built-in type in Python. I have one string with me. Python is a programming language and it is a popular language, right? If I print it, if I want to use rpartition function, rpartition, okay, and if you look at the documentation of this function, so you will see partition the string into three parts using the given separator, right? And it will return a tuple of three elements. Okay, use substring as is, right? And we will print the result then, right? If you run the program, so you will see we have three elements in the tuple, right? First element, this is first, this is second, and this is third, right? This rpartition function starts the substring from the last occurrence, right? So it actually splitted this entire string with this substring is the last occurrence is this, which means before the last occurrence we would have the first element in the tuple, right? So this is the element. Second element would be the same substring which you are providing. Okay, second element would be the separator itself, right? And third would be the remaining one, right? Okay, this one. Second case would be if the substring is not found, right? It will return you two elements as empty. So XX is not there, right? With the string, if you run the program, so first two elements you would get in the tuple as a blank, okay? And the last element would be a original string, right? Okay. So this is second case. May have other case like if you are not providing any of the substring, right? If you leave this substring as blank, so it will give you error, right? Empty separator. Don't try that, right? Okay, it will raise exception. Okay, so this is how we can use our partition function. Now let's move to our next function, that is swapcase. Swapcase function actually converts all upper characters to lower and all lower characters to the upper, right? Vice versa. So it will return you the converted string, right? So this is a Python word and we want this result to be converted into lower and uppercase, vice versa, right? So s2 dot swapcase, right? The function documentation says convert uppercase characters to lowercase and lowercase characters to uppercase. This is the only purpose of this function, right? It will return a string, right? For example, if you want to return this result 1, if you're in the program, so you will see, so here we have to use s2, right? S2. You're in the program again, so you will see, right? In your inputted string, we had p in uppercase, but after converting this character, so it has become lower, right? Let's see second case. If you have Python in lower, so it will convert the lower into upper, right? Completely. You see, upper. This is lower we provided and it converted the lower characters into the upper characters, right? If we have upper, so it will convert all characters into lower, right? You see, if any of the character we are saying Python is good, so you will see the output, right? Okay, so this swap case function only work with alphas characters, right? If you put 1 2 3, so it will not work. If you see, so it will not work, you will get the same output, right? If you use space, you use special characters, so it will do nothing, like a or a, right, like this. Okay, what is a split function? So a split function splits a string into a list of string after breaking the given string by the specified separator, right? I have one string with me, right, which you print. It will print simply in output window. Python is a programming language, right? If you want to split this string into multiple pieces, then you have to provide one separator. Okay, so we will be using split function result one dot s1 dot split. If you see the documentation, you will see we have one argument, that is separator, okay, which we have to pass on as a delimiter. Second, we have max splits. This parameter we will see later on, right? And what this split function returns? This function returns a list of string. Okay, means multiple pieces of string. Wherever we have a, just split this string into multiple pieces, right? Wherever we have a. Okay, if you print, so you will see there would be multiple pieces. You see, we have list of string as a output. Okay, wherever we have a, so it is splitted. That is first, that is second, right? You see, and this is third, and that is fourth, last one. This is how this split function works. Okay, you can use a word here. Okay, you can use is, so it will break your string with this delimiter is, right? So we have one element, first element is a Python, this one, and second element would be this one, this piece. Okay, now let's see what is the max split parameter, right? This parameter. So as you can see, max split parameter, it tells you to split the string into maximum of provided number of times. If it is not provided, then the default is -1, which means there is no limit. Okay, by default -1 means there is no limit. If you provide the value of this parameter max split, then you will get those many pieces, right? If I say I need one piece, okay, and I want to reach up to only three pieces, right? So I pass on two. So you see 0 1 and 2, it will reach up to 2, not more than that, right? You see, in third piece we still have a, but it reaches to the limit. Okay, if you make it 3, so then it will break this string here. You see, it reaches to here now. Okay, go to 4, then it will show you all, right? Now you see, we have got this one and we have got this one as well. There is one more case. If you do not provide any separator, right, by default it takes white space, right? If you're in the program, if you do not provide any separator, right, like that, so it will take white space as a default value, right? You have splitted your string with white spaces, could see multiple pieces, right, with white spaces. Okay, so always remember, if you do not provide any of the separator with split function, so it will take white space as a default value, right? Now let's see our next method, that is our split function, which is pretty similar to split function. So this function returns a list of a string after breaking the given string from the right side by the specified separator. Okay, and this function return the same type of data, right, which is list of a string. Okay, there is no difference. If you use it, and you will see, so this is fine. If you want to specify your delimiter, right, a, so it will show you the same output, right? But if you provide max limit like 2, then it will take the string from the right side, right? First it will split, then it will take the string from the right side. You see, this is 1, right, and this is 2, and this is 3. This is how it works. Okay, if you make it 3, it will show you 4 pieces, right? You see, now it came to here. Okay, let me take 5, so it will say this is the 5 pieces. So all 5 pieces will be equal to this split function, right? What is a strip function? So a strip function actually a built-in function in the Python programming language that returns a copy of a string with both leading and trailing characters removed. I have some string with me. Python is a programming language. It is having leading space and trailing space, right? You see, if we want to remove this space from both the end, we have to use this strip function, right? So what we will do, we will take a result variable and then s1 dot strip function. This is a function, built-in function. If you see the documentation, it is saying returns a copy of a string with leading and trailing white space removed, right? Print result 1 as well. If you run the program, so you will see our string is this, and then after applying this strip function, we got this a string without any leading and trailing space. Okay, if space is not there anywhere, then it will not remove, right? If you remove the space from here, so it will not remove. Okay, I have one more string with me, which is multi-line string, right? You see, if you want to apply the strip function on this string, right, so it will remove the leading and trailing space, right? So you see this was our string, right? After removing leading and trailing space, so our string is now retrieved in this format. Okay, here we have one argument on this function, that is characters. Okay, so I have one code snippet, right? This is s3. Okay, in s3 we have this url google.com, right? So here in s3 strip function we are saying just remove these characters, right, from this string c m o w. Wherever we have c m o w and this dot, so these characters will be removed, but the condition is they should be exist either at the leading or at the trailing, right? If you run the program, so you will get only google, you see. So these two characters w and dot exist in our strip argument, that's why they will be removed from the leading space, right? If you look at the other characters, so you see com, cmo, they are exist, even dot, and they are in trailing. Okay, so that's why google is just left. Okay, if you add, let's say, any character here, then you will see a dot in the output, right? Because g does not exist in this strip value. Okay, trailing characters are only these characters which exist here. Okay, if you see, so you will see google.g, because trailing characters are these. Okay, not these. Now let's talk about our next function, that is lstrip function. So lstrip function returns a copy of a string with leading characters removed. Okay, if no argument is passed, it removes leading space. Okay, while in a strip function you could see leading and trailing both. If I copy the code, right, this is s4 result 4 s4 s4 and result 4, right? We have to use lstrip. Okay, this is also a built-in function in python, right? Okay, if you're in the program, so you will see a same string, right? Let me remove this g, right? So this is fine. If you put any leading space here and now you apply lstrip function here, then this space would be removed, leading space. You see, our s4 string was this, here we have leading space, but after applying lstrip, it removed leading space in the output, you see. Okay, but if you want to prove whether trailing space is not removed, you just leave some trailing space and just check, run. You see, we have some trailing space, right? You see, it did not remove this. If you want to remove some characters also with your leading space, but we have left here some leading and trailing space, now it will work. Okay, so you will see we will only get google.com, not www, because www and dot, these characters are our leading characters which exist here in this word, that's why it removed www dot. Okay, now let's see our next function, that is rstrip function, which actually works similar to lstrip. If I copy the code, so I have left some trailing space, right? So it will remove it. If you run the program, so rstrip function will remove trailing space from the, you see, I'm not getting any trailing space in this output, you see. But in this s5, the row string, we are getting trailing space. Okay, so this is how rstrip function works, and you can use your removing character as it is. If you want to remove your trailing characters from your string, then it will work as it is. Okay, if you run the program, so now you will get www.google, you will not get .com, right? So trailing characters are these, okay, these, which is removed by rstrip function. Let's see what is str.format function in Python. It's a method of strings requires more manual efforts, right? You will use curly braces to mark where a variable will be substituted and can provide a detailed formatting directives. But you will also need to provide the information to be formatted, right? So how it will work? Let's say I'm printing hi. This is curly braces. We have to use, let's say, welcome to the, any message we can pass on. Then we can say format. This is a format method. Why so? Because this is a type of string and we are using the format method. Raj, then second argument Python. Okay, even we have to say some positioning, let's say 0 and 1. Okay, let's print it. You see, hi Raj, welcome to Python. Okay, this is the notation of passing on the arguments in format method. You see 0 and 1. You can even swipe both the argument passed in the format method like 1 or 2, or you can say 0. Okay, so on 0 position we have passed on Raj, so Raj would be printing here after welcome and Python would be printing at the first position. Let's run it. You see, now the output is altogether different. Hi Python, welcome to Raj. So this is the string.format method. We have one more control over string format method or function. What is that? If keyword arguments are passed or used in the string format method, their value are referred to by using the name of the argument. We can use a name as well here in the format method. How? Let's say, let me print the same thing again, right? Here instead of passing on the integer value, let me pass on some name, okay, language. In format method, what we have to do, we have to use the same name which we have used in the formatted string, okay, name and the same language. Okay, let's print it. So you see, in the third line we have the same output. If you have a really long format string, then you don't want to split up, right? So it would be nice if you could reference the variables to be formatted by name instead of by position. Okay, this can be done by simply passing the dictionary and using square brackets to access the keys. How it will work, let me show you. Let's say we have some table. Okay, I have some dictionary with me. Let's say employee name. Okay, that is first, as usual, Raj. Second, employee age 30. Now what I want to print the employee name to be printed with the help of this curly braces. Let me take 0, then I'll be saying employee name, right? And then we can say employee age. You can curly braces, then you can say employee age. and then you can use the format. Now you can pass on the variable. Okay, you see. So let's see how it will work. There's some issue. Okay, that was the issue. Let's run again. You see, employee name Raj is printed, employee age is 30. This could also be done by passing the table as keyword arguments with the asterisk asterisk notation, right? This asterisk asterisk. So how you can do? You can just copy the same thing, and instead of table, just put double asterisk before variable name and remove this indexing, okay, from your dictionary object. This is the same thing which you done in the previous statement, right? Let's run the program again. It will print the same thing. You see, str.zfill, which pads a numeric string on the left with zeros. It understands about plus and minus sign as well. Okay, so city, I have city.zfills. It will fill up the values with 0. Let's say I have to fill 0 up to 5. Let's see how it will work. You see, we have some value in decimal. Let's say what SAS charges. Okay, we have 1.1. Okay, and we want to J fill this value. Okay, so SAS charges, this would be a string, right? Let's see. You see, it has added extra zeros before the value up to 5. Okay, now total characters are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
The strict maketrans function is a static function. It is used to create a one-on-one mapping of a character of a string to its translation. That is to specify the list of characters that need to be replaced or deleted from the whole string. A Unicode representation of each character is created by this maketrans function for transition. Let me show you what is transition table. If you type in Unicode list, you will get a first link on Wikipedia. On this link, here if you see, we have ASCII punctuations and symbols. If we want to represent dollar symbol, then its decimal value would be 36. Okay, and this is the Unicode value for this dollar character. The same way we have 0 to 9 characters, Latin capital letters, and then Latin small letters. When translation table is created by maketrans function, then translate method takes the translation table to replacement or translate character in given string. Let's say we take one variable s1 and we type in dbc. Okay, when we type in s1 dot maketrans, you will be able to see three parameters for this make trans function. You see x, y, and z. We will talk about each argument one by one in this tutorial. So what first argument says for make trans function is if only one argument is passed to make trans function, it has to be necessarily a dictionary. This dictionary contains a Unicode number, right? Let me take a dictionary. I'm going to map characters with some characters. Okay. This is the dictionary that we are going to use with maketrans function. I'm going to pass this dictionary 1 into this function. Okay. And it will return one transaction table. Okay. You can say transaction table or you can say translation table. We will see how this T1 looks like. But before running the program, we have to understand what are these characters mapping. So what we are saying here, we are mapping small a with upper A, small b with upper b, and small c with upper c. Now let's run the program to see how transaction table is created. We have 97 where upper A is mapped. We have 98 where upper B is mapped. We had 99 where upper C is mapped, which means 97 Unicode decimal value has upper A character representation. If you see the Unicode list and find, you will see that small a has Unicode decimal value that is 97. Similarly, 98 has a small b, right? You see, 99 we have small c, right? That is 99. So this is a translation table that will be used by translate function. Okay. So what we are going to do, we are going to replace characters on basis of this dictionary, on basis of this mapping table. So that mapping table will be passed to translate function. Let me say print and say s1 dot translate. We have to replace character from s1 and the translation table is this, that is t1. Okay, if you're in the program, you will see D, B, C. Why? Because D is not mapped in this dictionary, but B and C are mapped with their value. Small b is mapped with upper b, small c is mapped with upper c. That is why B and C small characters are replaced with upper characters, excepting small d. Suppose I want to replace this small d character as well. Okay, I'm just saying just map small d as well and just take any other character. What do you want to replace? Okay, let me take anything. It would be h. Okay, if you run the program again, so you will see the different output, right? Your d is now replaced with small h because the mapping table has updated, that is 100 is mapped with this h. 100 means that would be small d in this list. You see, instead of this character mapping, if you want to map a Unicode decimal value, that is also possible, right? I'm saying just map 115, 116, 117, 118. Any decimal value you can have here which will be replaced from this string. Okay, if you're in the program again, so you will see the different output v, t and u. Okay, now if you see 116, the decimal value in the list, so you will get t, right? So instead of b, the t will be replaced. You see, similarly we have c in this string and c is mapped with this decimal value and the character of this decimal value would be u, right? That is why instead of c we are getting u. Okay, now let's jump to the second argument of this maketrans function. What I'm going to do, I'm going to have first a string. We will take abc in small letters. The second string we will take upper characters and our string would be same where we want to replace the characters. Okay, so instead of dict1 we will set first a string and then second a string. We have mapped small a with upper a, small b with upper b, small c with upper c. That is how it will work. Okay, if you're in the program, so the output would be dbc. So here you can see translation table is different, right? 97 is mapped with 65, 98 with mapped with 66 and 99 is mapped with 67. All are Unicode decimal values. If you see the Unicode table, so A would be mapped with A. So A 97 is mapped with 65. Okay, so 97 is mapped with 65. If you are getting any small b character, just replace with upper b. Okay, that is how it works, right? If we take one more character over here, then you will get some exception. Okay, both arguments should have equal lengths, then only you can use first string and second string for make transaction. Okay, let's see what is the third argument of this make trans function. We will just take third string and we will see anything be abh. Okay, and we will pass this string in this function. So what we are saying here, we are saying just take one more argument for new translation, right? If you're in the program, you will see, remove it from the program again. So you will see for A, B and H, we have set as none. Okay, for 97, the value for small a is 97, and for B it is 98, and H it is 104. So D is not replaced with any of the character because D is not yet being mapped in any of the translation. Okay, that's why D is still appeared, but C is presented in this string but not here. That's why none was not set. Okay, for C we have got upper C. Why we did not get upper B in the output is B is presented in this third string, which means we are going to set none for this character in S1. Okay,
ORD and CHR functions of Python are built-in functions that are used to convert a character to an integer and vice versa. Before diving into the tutorial, we will understand Unicode, which we will use later in our discussion. Unicode is an internationally recognized character encoding system that assigns each character a unique number, which helps the programmer to create a string with different characters of different languages, including special characters and emojis. I'm going to show you how we can understand Unicode's character. I have opened browser and I have a wiki link. These links talk about what are list of Unicode characters, right? As we talked about, there are Unicode values how characters are represented in computer system. We have ASCII punctuation and symbol. If we say 1, then which means its Unicode would be U plus 0031. Okay. Now let's try to use these Unicodes in Python and how we can get character with Unicode easily. So let me take this Unicode. I have PyCharm editor opened on my machine where I am writing Python code. This is the Unicode which I have just copied. I've just commented it. So what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna use one print function. Inside the function, instead of u, I'll be using a backslash u for Unicode. Instead of plus, we will putting 000. Right? So I have put for 0 along with I will take this code. Okay? Alright? If you're in the program, you will see a character is printed. If you want to print other characters as well, you can copy the code and print it. If you go back and say 61, so it will print a small a. This is how we can print characters from Unicode. Let's take one more example of emojis. We have lots of emojis, right? If I search emoji, you will see a section for emojis and their Unicode. If I click on it, you will get so many emojis that can be used in your Python code. Okay, I have this stopwatch emoji that I want to print in my Python code. What I will do, I will just copy the code, put it in the same way as we used previous code. Okay, and instead of x, we have to put the column number against it, right? So it is 1, so I'll be saying that is 1. We're in the program, so you will get this stopwatch emoji. Now without further delay, let's move to learn about ORD and CHR function. So what is the ORD function in Python? ORD function in Python is used to convert a single Unicode character into its integer representation. It takes a single string character as an input and returns an integer as an output. Let's have a look at some example to get a better understanding. Okay, so we have ORD function which will take a character, right? You see, I'm going to say that is uppercase char. All right. If I print uppercase char and run the program, so it will show you the value is 65 because this is the Unicode for this character. Let me go back to Unicode list. Okay, you see This is Latin capital letter A and value is 65. In the same way, if you want to print small a, then its value would be 97. Okay, let me take one more line. Lowercase a, we will print it. Run the program again. So its value would be 97. Let's check any special character and any number, right? Take dollar. We are saying that is number. We'll print it. Run the program. We got their Unicode value 36 and 55. If you check what is the value for dollar, that would be 36, right? These are the special characters. This is dollar, that is 36. Okay. There may be a situation where you need to print the Unicode value for every character in a string. Okay. So for that, we are going to take input from user, input, enter value, and then we are going to use for, or we can take range starting from 0 to length, it is str, and we will print ord, this function we will use, and str, and we'll say I. Very simple. It will take character from the string one by one and then pass it to ord. Run the program. It will ask user to input. Let me say it is Python, and you will get all the Unicode characters from these characters, right? 112, it would be P, right? It is P. Okay. What if we pass more than one characters in the ord function, right? Let me remove it and just say print ord. I say AB. Okay, what happens if you run the program? So it will show you the error, right? Length is exceeded. We cannot provide more than one character in this function. So this is a limitation. Now let's talk about what is chr function in Python. As we have discussed above, the ord function takes a character and returns the corresponding Unicode, and the character function does exactly the opposite to the ord function. It takes Unicode, a number between 0 to, that is 1114111. If I print chr and I say tree, so it will return something. Pass on 97, so it will return a small a. Right? Now let's take some example to get better understanding of how to use char function in Python. This is a very simple example. Suppose you have a list of numbers, right? Unicode numbers. I'm taking any number, right? 98 or maybe 97 I'll take. Okay. What we are going to do, we are going to get their characters by these Unicodes. Okay. Let me take 4 I in num, and we will print and say chr and I, because chr will take any integer value and it will return a character representation, right? If you're in the program, so you will see, so we have b, b and a. Okay, from this example we get how to find character against the given Unicode, right? But what if we give the value to char function not lying in this range? Okay, let's try it. Let's remove the code. Instead of 97, I'm passing -1. Let's run the program. So it will give you the error because the value which you have provided, it is not in this range. As soon as I put 1, so it will print you 1 character representations, right? If I put 66, so it will return you. Okay, but I put which is not in this range, so it will still give you the error. Okay, if I take exact range, that is the last character in this list, so it will return something. Let's check one more case, non-integer arguments. I'm not passing any integer, I'm passing any character, right? If you run, it will not print anything. Okay, right? So this is a restriction for this method. We can only provide integer as an input and we can get string as an output. Python string class contains functions that we can use to check it contains another string or not. The Python string contains method is case sensitive. Let's look at the simple example for string contains function. We are going to take one a string object where we will be defining Python is a good programming language. Then we are going to use print s1 contains a, which means we are going to check s1 dot double underscore contains. We are saying we are going to check one character that is a. That means in the program you will see a is present in this string, that is true. If we are going to check whether this string contains upper A character, let's run the program. You see, since A is exist but upper A not found. We can also use contains functions with str class method too. Okay, copy this statement and instead of s1 we are gonna say str that contains, and as a first argument we are going to pass s1 and second argument we are gonna pass as the finding characters. Okay, so let's run the program, so it will say yes it is true. Okay, we can also check this case sensitiveness. You see, let's find out z character, right? It will say it is false. All right, let's see other case. If we want to find out any specific word in this entire string, the same function can be used. So what we are going to do, we are going to say we will check whether good word is present in this s1 or not. Okay, first we will check with s1 dot contains and then we will say just check good word in this entire string. It will return true and the program it is returning true, right? If we say bad, so it will return false. Okay, in the same way we can check a string class alias and then check s1 has bad word in the string or not and the program, so it will say false as soon as we say is. So is present in this entire s1 string, right? You see, it is true. Now let's check if Python string contains substring with help of user inputs. Okay, let me remove this program. I'm gonna ask one input one from user, enter a string one, and another input I'm gonna take two. Is I1 string contains I2 string. Okay, that is what we are going to check. Then we will print result. Okay, so I1 dot contains we will use and we will pass I2. Alright, so it will return true or false. Alright, let me run the program. I'm saying Python is a good language. The second is string. Let me say good, so it will say it is true, right? So Python is a good language contains good word, this substring. Alright, let me run the program again just to check whether this contain returns false. Then we are going to again say Python is a programming language. Then second string I'm going to say just check bad, so it will say false, right? So in this entire string there is no substring like bad. Okay, next function is id function. Python ID function returns the identity of the object. The identity of an object is an integer, which is guaranteed to be unique and constant for this object during its lifetime. In Python implementation, this is the address of the object in memory. Let's check this out with an example. I'm gonna have four variables a, b, c, and d. A 5, b 5, c 30, d 40. So just print ID of all these four variables, right? C and D. If you're in the program, so you will find two variables A and B is referring to the same object. You see, the ID is same. But for other two variables, C and D has a different ID of object. These are the memory address. Let's see if we get the similar behavior with string and tuples too. Okay, I'm gonna create tuples. Let me take tuple 1 here, x and y. Okay, then tuple 2, same x and y, right? So we'll say t1 and t2. Okay, let's end the program and see. You see, tuple has also the same object if we have the same values, right? Now let's take a string s1 equals to x, y, z. And then we say s2, the same value, and we will use the id function saying s1 and s2. Let's see whether it proves for string type as well. Yes, this is the same object reference for same type of values. From the output, it is clear that Python caches the string and tuple objects and use them to save memory space. Caching can work only with immutable objects. Notice that integer string tuples are immutable, so Python implementation can use caching to save memory space and improve performance. We know that dictionary is not immutable. Let's see if ID is different for different dictionary even if the elements are same for dictionary, right? I'm going to create two dictionaries with same type of values, okay? The key would be X and then its value would be 1, Y, 2. This is my dictionary 1, this is my dictionary 2, same values, right? Now I'm gonna say print ID function dictionary 1 and then dictionary 2. Let's run the program again. You will notice that both the object d1 and d2 is referring different object in the memory. You see the ID is different. Okay, let me remove old code, run the program again. So as we thought, dictionary objects are returning different ID value and there seems no caching here. Okay, these are different objects. Now let's see Python ID function for custom objects. So we are gonna create a custom class. Let me create simple class customer. Let's define anything salary. You can say 0. I'm gonna create two objects for the class customer, then C2 customer. Now I'm gonna print ID and then C1 and then C2. Okay. Let's see whether the both objects is referring to the same object or not. Run the program. Objects are different. Okay. For custom type, the ID function is returning a different value of the object, right? Let me check one more scenario. I'm going to take C3. I'm going to refer C1 and C3. Okay. Now let's see what is the object ID of C3, right? And the program C1 and C3 is referring to the same object, you see? Because here we are just pointing to the one memory address. That is what it is being written. Okay. C2 has a different reference in the memory. The lower method returns a string where all characters are lowercase but symbols and numbers are ignored. Any string temp and we say Python is a programming language. Okay, and then we try to apply temp dot lower, so you will get all the characters into lowercase, right? Respective of whether they are in uppercase or not. So you are getting all the characters into lowercase. If we take any word completely with uppercases, then also we will get all characters in lowercase, right? You see, in Python, there is one method that is casefold method, which is pretty similar to lower method. The casefold method returns a string where all characters are lowercase. It is pretty similar. The casefold method is stronger, more aggressive, meaning that it will convert more characters into lowercase and it will find more matches when comparing two string. So to prove this case, I have a German character with me, right? And when we convert these characters with help of lowercase, it will not be converted. You see, but with help of casefold method, it will convert this character into the lowercase, right? So let me use casefold, and then you will see the difference. You see, this German character has been converted to SS, which means this casefold method is covering more characters. Let's see our next method, that is upper method. Let me remove it, and I'm also removing these German characters, and then we are going to apply upper method. Okay, so the upper method returns a string where all characters are in upper cases. Okay, if you run the program, so your string will be converted into all upper cases, right? You see, let's see our next method, that is title method. Let me remove it. I have a string. So title method returns a string where the first character in every word is uppercase, like a header or a title. If the word contains a number or a symbol, the first letter after that it will be converted to uppercase. Temp dot title method we have on string. Okay, if you're in the program, we convert it to a title or header like. Okay, the P is upper, I is upper, A is upper, right? If you remove this numeric value from this word, it will also work in the same way, right? Let's see our next method. I have some code handy, right? The next method we have is split lines. The split lines method splits a string into a list. The splitting is done at line break. That is the symbol of line breaking into the string, right? It will split this string into multiple pieces in form of list object, but the breaking point will be this character. Okay, if you're in the program in form of list, you see we are using a one optional parameter which is set to true, which means it will include line break character as well with the item. Okay, if we make it false, that it will be excluded. If I put one more line break character into this string, then the number of items of this string will be extended, right? You see, we have three items now, right? You see, we have three items. Okay, let's see our next method, which is called is printable, right? So what is printable method does, it returns true if all characters in the string are printable. If not, it returns false. How you can say the characters are printable? You can identify the characters like if the characters are letter, symbols, digits, punctuations, or white space, you can say these are printable characters, right? And the characters which are line breaks, page breaks are called as non-printable characters. Okay. So we have a very simple string with us, right? So it will return is printable. It will return true, but as soon as we add the line break character inside the string, so it will not be called as is printable, right? It will return false. You see, let's check other scenario. If we leave a blank space here and just try to see whether this blank value is printable or not, it will return true, right? This character is printable. Let's check other scenarios. If we add any sky value, let me take 27, which means a backslash, right? Print this value as well. You will get a false value, right? In the result, okay? You see, it is a false, but the value is backslash, you see, okay? Even you set other values like 97, which means it's a lower A alphabet, still it will return false because the character 27 is included here. It will return false, right? You see, but as soon as you remove this backslash sky value, so now it will return true because this character is considered as a printable character. Okay, you see. Let's see our next string method, which is called isidentifier. Isidentifier method returns true if the string is a valid identifier. Otherwise, it will return false. Okay. How you can consider a string is valid identifier or not? If it only contains alphanumeric letters A to Z, 0 to 9 or underscore, so it is a valid identifier. But a identifier cannot contains a number in the starting of the string, or it should not contain any space in between. So this is a valid identifier for us. There is no space, no numeric value at the starting of the string. Okay, so it will return true. Second case, we have a space in between, so it will return false. We have one space, it will return false. It will return false, it will return true, right? So if you run the program, so you will see the output. So we are getting true because it's a valid identifier, no space, no numeric at the starting of the string. False, space we have, and we have a one numeric value at the starting of the string, right? So here we are getting false as well. Okay. But in the last case, we are getting true because the numeric values are added at the end of the string. Okay. So this is valid identifier. I have one string with me. I'm going to count the length of this string value. So I'm going to take one variable length and we'll take a len function that is a built-in function in Python. Here we have to pass one argument and we will see length of the given string will be printed on the output window. It is 17. You can also use this len function to check whether given string is empty or not, right? So this is a code snippet which is actually checking the length of this string. If it is 0, then we are printing string is empty. Else we will say string is not empty, right? So this kind of logics sometimes we need to implement on our program. We may have a list object as well, right? If we want to count the items in the list, that is also possible. This is a list object that is a type of string items. If you want to print the list, that is very easy. But if you want to get the length of number of items in the list, that can be done with the help of len function. I'll be using len and I'll pass fruits object to the len, right? In the program, you will see its count would be 3. Many a times we have to use this len function in for loop. So here is the scenario. I'm taking a one range function to start with 0 index and I want to continue my loop till end of the length of this root object. Okay, and you can print its item like this. In the program, you will get all the items in the output window one by one. Okay, let's see what is print function in Python. So this print function is to display various type of data in Python. How? As you can see, this print function we are using for getting the length. Okay, if you want to print any message, you can say hello Python. Any message you can pass in this print function, it will display on the console. Multiple arguments can also be used with this function to show the output in a single line. Okay, for example, I am saying age is 30. You can see this would be a single line only. However, you have passed two type of arguments. One is a string, second is a integer type value. Okay, run the program. You can see the output in a single line. String concatenation can also be done with this method, right? Let's say I'm taking one variable, the name is John, right? Here I want to append this variable value to the print function. We'll say hello John. Okay, this way we can append any variable value to the print function, that is called concatenation of strings. Okay, if in the program we'll see hello John, or you can put the same thing in other variable as well and just print this message. This way you can also get it worked. Okay, so string formatting can also be done with help of string.format function. It's a cleaner way to format complex string. For example, if you see I have a age variable, its value is 40, and what I want to append this value inside this message. Okay, so I have used a placeholder, these braces, open and close. Okay, and in the format function, I have passed this value. So what it will do, it will append this value into these braces. Okay, when this print executes, it replaces these braces with the actual value of this age variable, right? So in the program, see you are 40 years old. Okay, you can use fstring for other formattings with print function. We have other example, and this score we wanted to print in percentage form. So that is called a fstring formatting in print function. If you're in the program, we'll see the message your score is 90%. Changing the separator between items. So it separates multiple items with the separator value. Okay. Our code is snippet. There are multiple items, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday as an different argument. But the separator will separate these different value in a single string. Okay. In the program, we'll see all three values with comma separated. Right. When you change it, it will separate it with this colon. You see? Let's see how to redirect the output with print function. Okay, for example, we have a txt file on some location and we wanted to read the information from the file with help of print function. We want to display that information on the console. What we will do? We will use with open function we will pass a file name. That way I have a invoice 0.txt on the same location from where I am running this program. Okay, I'll open a mode that is read and we will say as file, and then we will print all information from this file with help of this read function. So all the information from this file will be read and displayed to the console. You see, this is a test file, account is settled. If you see this file, I can show you the file invoice0.txt. You see, this is text which is written. Okay, let me add some text here, test1, and save the file, Control S, close the file and run the program again. You will see that message will also be displayed which we have just added. We can also write some text into the same file with the help of write mode. Okay, what we are going to do, we are going to use the same function. Okay, now mode would be the W. Okay, and instead of file or read, we will just put some message. Let's say hi Python, and our file parameter will be used, and then this file object we can pass here for this argument. If you run the program, then you will see this message will return only hi Python because this message will overwrite all the text into this file. Okay, and then we will retrieve the same text from this file with the help of read mode. If you run the program, we'll see only hi Python is displayed. If you now open the file, you will see only hi Python is written. Okay, let's remove this code. If you want to use the AND argument with print function, now we are ending the line with this particular character or a string, right? If you're in the programs, you will see in the same line, we will see hello and Python, including this AND value. Okay. You see, instead of new line character, it will overwrite that character with this value. What is format map string function? This function takes a single parameter, which is the input dictionary, and returns the keys value. I have a code snippet where I have taken a dictionary object. So what we are doing here, we are using a format underscore map function, which is taking a dictionary, right, as an input, and then this input will be replaced in this placeholder. X will be replaced with 10 and Y will be replaced with 20. For in the program, we'll see coordinates are 10 and 20. Okay, you can use as many key as you want. Okay, if you don't want to use Y, just leave it and run the program, so it will also work. Okay, I can give you one more example where I have a different type of dictionary wherein one key is containing a one list object. You see, if you want to refer any of the item from this list object against this key, from this key we are taking a item from zero index, that is Python. And then same thing we are doing here. In the version key, we are taking this first index value. Okay, if you're in the program, you will see Python version 3.13 released. You can just say 1 and it will show you the value, that is 9 from here.
We will learn what is a string join function in Python, and it is used to join elements of the sequence separated by a string separator, right? This function joins elements of a sequence and makes it a string, right? In Python, we can use the join function with different types of iterable such as list, tuple, string, dictionary, and sets. Okay, let's understand them one by one with help of example. Okay, I am using editor PyCharm and Python version 3.12 installed on my computer, right? So let's get started with today's video. First, we will learn join a string into a string. Okay, I'm using join function and I have one string that is a Python word, right? This is the string which I want to use to join this separator. Okay, if you're in the program, so you see, okay, so this is how we can join any of the separator in our string. Okay, and what this join function works, concatenates any number of string, and what type of parameter it is expecting, it is expecting iterable, right? Iterable str only, right? So if you talk about this string, so it is a iterable of characters. Now let's see join a list into a string in Python. Okay, I'm gonna use this same variable. So this is my list of a string, this. Okay, you can consider the same separator, hyphen minus dot join, and I'm going to pass this s1, this list, into the join, right, which accepts the iterable object. Okay, here, so this is iterable object. Okay, if I run the program again, so you will see the Python like this. Okay, if you want to put any of the character, right, so it will include hash. Okay, you see, any of the string you can put. You want to put, let's say, code into each items, so you will see code is added right in between. Now let's see join a tuple element into a string in Python, right? We are using same variable, but we are initializing with different type of data. Okay, if you print, so this is tuple. If you want to print the type, we can use type function and we can check the type of the object, right? If you run, so it would be tuple, right? You see, it is a tuple class. Join my separator. This time I'm going to take dollar dot join and pass on my tuple, right? If you're in the program, so you will see dollar would be added into the string, okay, in each tuple item. Okay, you see the same thing another way, right? Instead of taking the separator in the same line, okay, so you can take str and then you are saying this is my dollar. Okay, and on str you are applying join function. If you're in the program, so this will show you the same output, right? No difference. Okay, now let's see, join a sets element into a string, right? Sets element, so sets can be declared how? Sets can be declared like this. Okay, and if you're in the program, so you will see a type of the class that is set, right, for this same variable. Okay, and even we got the output, right? So we have joined this separator into this sets element, right? So this is how the sets work. Now let's see how we can join elements of dictionary, right? So in case of dictionary, you can define one dictionary. Okay, so this is our dictionary. If you print this dictionary, so you will get the output in the same way, key and the values, right? Key and their values, right? Key value pairs we have. Print the type, you will see there is a type of dictionary. You see dictionary. The point here is we can join only keys of dictionary, right? Again, I want to use hyphen dot join. Since dictionary is a iterable type of object, so we can use it. You see, name, email with this hyphen. Okay, only keys. Okay, if you add one more keys here and you run the program again, so we have one more key, so it will go add it, right, like this with this join. Okay, but for important note, we have to take care when we join the dictionary keys, it only joins the key which are string only, not an integer, right? For example, the key is in integer type. Okay, now you would see a one warning here, right? Expected type iterable string, but go dictionary int str instead, right? So it will not run, it will raise you the error. Okay, you see we have some error, type error, we have not passed correct type in the join function, right? Join function expecting iterable str, right? So we have seen different type of types where join function can be used for iterable items.
Why we use and how we can use map function in Python. We will be covering these points in this video. Now let's see what is map function in Python. Map function is a built-in function which applies a function on all the items of an iterator given as input. An iterator, for example, can be a list, a tuple, a set, a dictionary, a string, and it returns an iterable map object. Okay, what are these types? These are the data types of Python. Okay, you can see the syntax for the map function, built-in function in Python modules, right? It accepts function, one function, then next arguments it is accepting iterator 1, 2 and n number of iterators it can accept. Okay, if you want to pass on single iterator you can pass it. If you want to pass on multiple iterator we can pass on. So we'll be covering n number of iteration in this point. This function actually it's a mandatory function to be given to a map, right? It will always be a mandatory option that will be applied to all the items available in the iterator. Okay, what is iterator? It can be list, tuple, sets, string. Okay, what it will return? The map function is going to apply the given function on all the items inside the iterator and return an iterable map object. If we want to get the cube of any given number, so that map function could help us, right? So how it will help us? Let's say we have one, let's say numbers variables wherein we have some numbers. Like what we are going to do, we are going to define one function, we can say get cube, and then what it will return, it will return just, you can say this is a formula to get the cube. Okay, this is very simple function. Now we want to get the all cubes. Okay, from this list object we are going to use map function.
So map function, what it say, if you see the documentation for the map function, so you would see this is function we are going to pass on here, right, as a first argument. And second, you can see it's a iterable args type. Okay, so we can pass n number of iterable sequences, right? That is fine. So we are going to pass on get cube, and then we have to pass on our source, right? That is our sequence. All done. We have to, let's say, print. Okay, so let's run the program. 1 cube is 1, 2 cube of 8, 3 cube of 27, and so on. You see, this is very simple to get the cube, okay, from an array. Now let's see our second point, using map function with built-in functions. Okay, our objective is to convert these decimal value into the integer, right? We have to round these values. Okay, round function, this is built in. Okay, so this round function we'll be using because we are covering this built-in function with map. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to now use map function, right? We can say round function we are going to use because it will be taking number. We can pass one function, then we have to pass on our built-in, right? So we are saying this one, and then we are result 1. Okay, then we are going to print result 1. If you run the program, so you will see now all values, even all decimal values, have been converted into the integer, right? They have been round off. Okay, right, because it actually removes the precisions. Okay, it will always return integer. So this is very simple. Now let's see our third point, using map with a string as an iterator. Let's say we have one string value. Okay, and we want this string to be convert its case either lower case to the upper case, right? We are going to create one function, and then we are going to return one built-in function from Python modules, that is on a string s dot upper. Okay, str dot upper. This is function which converts lower cases string into the upper case. Any string value, let me take coding news today, and we have to use the map function, then get upper case 1, and then we have to pass our s1. Got it? We can say our s2. This would return the iterable object, and then we will be printing this s2. If you run the program, so it is the map object. Okay, we have to use for. Okay, so let me take for I, and we can put it blank. Great. Now we can print it. You see, now it has converted this case into the uppercase completely. If you remove this space from here, right, so you will get the complete uppercase string. Alright, now let's see our fourth case using map with list of numbers, right? So for fourth case we already have this number. Okay, what we want, we want to get the square of any number, so we'll be passing one list to the map function, and then it will return us the square of each item, right? So we are going to create one function get, and then we can say this would be our list number, right? Numbers will be saying, so we'll be first printing numbers just to see the input, and we are going to say as 3 equals to map function we'll be using, and then we'll to passing get square and then this numbers. Okay, and we have to convert list, we have to convert it into the list. Let's in the program. So you see, after coding news, first it iterate this row string and then it converted its square, right? 2 square 4, 3 square 9, 4 square 16, 5 square 25. You see, this is the output from this statement. Okay, easy. Let's move to our next point, that is using map with tuple. That is our fifth point. That was our fourth point. So you know what is tuple? A tuple is a object in Python that has items separated by commas and enclosed in a round brackets. We are going to create one function. So it will convert any upper text into the lower case. Okay. So get lower. So we'll be using built-in function this time also. Okay. The lower. Okay. We have to use tuple. So how we can create tuple? We can create tuple with round brackets and then we can pass comma separated values. So I am saying today. So all these items are in uppercase characters. Okay. So we are going to convert those uppercase character into the lower case. That's why we have created this new function. Now use the map function and then we can say t2 and then we have to print convert into the list t2. That is all. Click on the run. Then you see the output. Our old text, the uppercase text got converted into the lowercase in this output right here. Right? Clear so far? The next point is using map with sets. So you know how to create sets. Set is the similar thing. The only difference is instead of round brackets, we have to use curly braces, right? This is the syntax of, so this is called a sets. If you want to see what is the type, you can get it easily d1 and you will find this is a set class. You see, right? It is confirmed, it is sets class, and then we have to use the same thing, right? And instead of tuple, we will be passing our d1 here. Okay, and that would be t3 for us and t3. All good? This is a different code, right? The output will be the lower case of this list items. Okay, let's end the program. You see, we have got the lowercase strings. Okay, now let's move to our next point, seventh point, that is very important. See carefully. So how to use map function with lambda functions? You know the lambda function. Lambda expressions are utilized to construct anonymous functions, right? We will have to use the lambda keywords just as you use def to define normal function. Okay. So let's say if I want to get the cube of any given number, we have to use the lambda function. Okay. Into the map, let me take cube 1. This is my new variable, then map. So here just see carefully, we have to use lambda keyword, right? And its number as an argument we are going to take. For x you can take anything, a you can take y, z, okay, anything. Then we have to say for a cube, a multiply a, okay. And then our numbers, which numbers? So we can take these numbers, okay. These numbers you can take, okay. We'll passing this as a number 1 and number 1. Let's print the output, run the program. So you see, this is the cube of the list items, right? You see 2, 8, 3, 64, 5, 525. If you change or you add new item into the list, you will get the cube for that item as well, right? Port 6, we have the cube 216. Okay, now let's see our next point, multiple iterators inside map function. Okay, you see the syntax, right? We can pass on multiple iterators, 1, 2 and n number of iterators. So this is that point. Okay, passing two list iterators to map. So here what we are going to do, we are going to create two lists, right? Let me take list 1. All right, this is fine. And now we have to use our map function. Let's say m1 equals to map l1 item I want to add with l2 items, right? So how you will do that? To do so, we have to first define a function add. It will be accepting a plus b, a comma b, and then it will return a plus b, right? And we have to pass on add l1 and then l2, right? Just print it. Now run the program. Just match the output. Okay, so our output is as per our requirement. Like we are going to add a and b. Okay, for different list. Okay, 4 and 5, 9, 5, 6, 11. This is the output. Now let's see the next point. This is the same list, right? Now we can also pass different type of iterator into the map function. You see, now tuple and list iterator we are going to pass on, right? So what we can do, instead of this L2 as a list, we are going to set to the tuple. Okay, that is fine. These are the different type, L2 and L1 is list type, L2 is tuple type. Okay, then you can just see the output. So output is same. One more thing, if you have more than item either of the iterable, so it will only take the equal number of parameters, right? For both the iterator, right? It will not consider any mismatch item. Okay, if you run the program, so it will not take 34, because for 34 L1 does not have any item, right? It would consider as a none, right? Because positions are the matching. Okay, the indexes are the same for both the things. Okay, let's say if you pass on L3, one more thing, and you this time you say 3 only, so what would be the output then? L3 I am going to pass on, so the output will be only 1, 3 and 3, right? Because we do not have further elements in L3, only single element is there. Let's run it. So we have issue here, so it is saying take two position argument but 3 was given. Okay, we got that. So we have to pass on the third argument in this function. Now it will work, right? So you see only 7 we have received. 1 plus 3 plus 3 is 7. So what is filter function? The filter function is a built-in Python function that filters the given set of iterable with the help of a function that tests each item in the sequence to be true or false, right? It is useful when you have to iterate over a set of elements and differentiate elements on the basis of a specific criteria, right? Before getting started with anything, let's try to understand what is list. Let's see first what is list. A list is a data structure used to store a range of data in a single variable. Okay,
it is defined inside the square brackets with values separated by comma. Okay, how? Marks. Those values can be of any data type, string, integer, float, etc. If you want to take a string, then you can take a string. If you want to take float, you can take float. So we'll be using the function, the filter function, with the help of list object. Okay, let's remove it. What is the syntax? Syntax, we have filter, any function, and then we have to pass on our sequence. Sequence means the list we are going to handle. Okay, this is the syntax. So what is this function? It is a user defined set of rules to be done when a particular function is called, right? Any particular function you can take. Okay, what is the sequence? It is a set of list or tuples that need to be filtered. Okay, which we are going to filter. Okay, filter means, for example, if you are using Amazon shopping cart, you filter some items like on the basis of categories like clothes section, electronic sections. So we are filtering the items, okay, on the basis of our need, right? We want to buy a watch, then you will be looking at the electronics category. And what this filter returns, this returns a function object, right? Which means you have to pass a function without calling it with a pair of parentheses. Okay, parentheses, to pass a variable, right, which further has to be converted into a list to view elements. Okay, so let's see this with an example. Let's say I have some student marks. Okay, it could be 20, 30, anything, 34, 60. Okay, so what we want here from this example, we want to get only the marks which are only greater than, let's say, 50. Okay, we have to define one function, let's say first division marks, right? We will be passing one number, or you can say that would be marks. If it is greater than equals to 60, right, then it will return true, else it will return false, right? This is very simple method. So we have to use this function, new function, in the filter function. Now let's use filter function. How it will work? Let's say I am getting one variable good marks, then filter. Now in this filter method, if you see function as an argument, right, that could be our this first division function, and second argument is iterable. So we have to pass our sequence, right? And what it will return an iterator yielding those items of iterable for which function is true. It means this function is returning some true or false. So on the basis of true or false, once the condition is true, then it will return as the particular item, right? Let's use first division marks. This function we have to pass on as an argument. In this method we have to pass on our sequence. Very simple. If you want to print what will be the outcome, you will find, again we are going to convert these filter result. Okay, it will return something iterable, then we have to convert this return into the list, then only we will be getting our final output, right? Let's end the program. Our output is this, right? We have only 60 because we have checked the condition. If number is greater than 60, then only those items should be retrieved. Okay, if you change this condition, just put 30 and then run the program, so you will see all greater than 30 marks items will be retrieved from this function, this filter function. Okay, so this is a use of filter function. You can apply any kind of filters, right? You can apply n number of condition here as per your business requirements. You can apply. Okay, this is a very simple example to understand how filter works. It only needs a method which has to be passed here as a first argument, as a second argument we have to pass on the sequence. This is the list. Now let's see the second point, how to use filter with help of lambda expressions. Okay, we have declared a very big method here. It is very simple, we don't need it, right? We can use a simple statement right in the filter method itself. So with the help of lambda keyword we can get this the same output very quickly. How? We'll be using the same variable name, right? And instead of passing this function we have to use lambda, and then we have to pass on one argument in this lambda expression. You can say x, right? And you can check if x is greater than equals to 60, then it will return something. Okay, this condition will return something, right? This condition either true or false. Okay, let me change the variable name, right, just to avoid confusions. 1 and 1, right? We are filtering on the basis of 60, here we are filtering on the basis of 30, so both output would be different for us, right? If you run this, so you will get 60 as a output list in the second example. Okay, with lambda expression. Here we have different output. If you want to make it same 30, so it will give you the same output for both. You see, both output are same. So this is very easy, and you can write this statement, this expression in different way. We can say true if x greater than equals to 30, else false. This is same as previous expression. Okay, now run the program, so you will get the same output. Okay, now let's see how you will get the same output using for loop. So what you will do if you want to get the same output with the help of for loop, so you will say for condition I greater than equals to 30, then print I, right? So you will say I, and you will say some and, you will be keep printing in the same line. Okay, let's run it. Okay, you are getting the same output but in different format. This is a list and this is a string. Okay, so this is the other way to get the marks, like apply the condition on the array. Okay, or this is the way how we can filter our data. There are so many ways to do some specific task, but the thing is we have to see the best optimal solution, okay, which is best for us, which takes less time to execute, right? There is one more way using list comprehension. Okay, you can filter out the data with list comprehensions. List comprehensions offers a shorter syntax. On the list itself you can apply if condition, loops, okay, to filter out the data. I, okay, for I in marks, right? And we will say if I greater than equals to 30. Very simple. If you print this marks1 variable, you will get the same output. You see, this is the same output. Let me put some separator, print. Okay, run it again. You see, the output is same. So this is called a list comprehensions. Okay, we can apply multiple if statement here. If you want to check one more thing, right? And I less than equals to 50, only those variables, those items you can get. It is very easy, right? You see, which are greater than 30 and which are less than 50. You see, only those items are retrieved. Okay, so now you have understood what is the filter, why we use filter, and
how we can use filters. Okay, all things you have covered. Even you have seen multiple ways to get the same output in different ways, right? Using lambda, using for loop, using list comprehension. Okay, but we should always prefer the best way, the optimal solution. So these functions are built-in function in Python. So always practice to use those functions. Don't write your custom logics like this. Okay, if you have lots of records, right, in this array, right, millions of records, then iterating your array or list objects, big object, may take lots of time to print this type of information. While if you use filter on a big set of data, so it will give you the result instantly. It will take less time while executing. Okay, the execution time will be very less if you use built-in function, because those are designed in such a way you can get the benefit. Okay, why we use reduce function and how we can use reduce function in Python. What is reduce function? Reduce function in Python performs functional computation by taking a function, an iterable, that is list, tuple, dictionary, as an arguments. Okay, and the result is returned after computation. The reduce function in Python is defined in the functool module and does not return multiple values or any iterator. Okay, iterator means any list type of object. It just returns a single value as output, which is the result of the whole iterable getting reduced to only a single integer or string or boolean, right? If you see, this is the syntax of reduce function. Reduce function belongs to the functools module. The first argument in reduce is a function. This function will be applied to all the element in an iterable in a cumulative manner to compute the result. The second argument is iterable. Iterables are those Python objects that can be iterated, looped over, includes like list, tuples, sets, dictionaries. Now let's start these points. What is the first point? Reduce versus Python for loop. There is a confusion, right, between these terms, like why we are using reduce while for loop can do the same thing, right? So there is a lots of confusion. First, let's try to see the requirement for this video, right, to learn our all concepts for reduce function. The requirement is we want to add two numbers, right? Or we want to add all numbers from the list object or tuple object, right? So to fulfill this requirement, we can use either reduce or we can use for loop. So first see how we can solve this problem by using for loop. Okay. So we have, let's say, one list object. Okay. It's a very simple list. We can say 4 and 5. 3 items are there. We are going to sum all these elements, right? How we can sum? So that is very simple program. If you run the program, so it will show you the output 10. So this type of things you don't need to do, right, again and again. So this is a overhead on the program, right? We don't need to do, right, every time, while we have already one function that can do the same thing, right? And it would be very efficient. It will give you the result very fast when you are going to develop your big programs, right? When you are going to deal with a large set of data, okay, like 10,000, 50,000 or 1 million records into the array or into the object, then this sort of solutions may slower the process. That is why few built-in functions defined in the library so that you can get the benefit, right? So we can now achieve the same thing with the help of reduce function. How? First step, we have to import the modules. We have to import this functool, right? And we have to import reduce. Okay, what is this? This is a function, right? We can see right here, this is a function. Okay, now the next step, what we have to do, we have to create one method, right? Def, we can say add numbers. Now the third step, we have to call the reduce function. Reduce add numbers and then our sequence, right? And then we have to say whatever output it will give us, please print. Run the program, so you will see it is the same output. Okay, the first output was this, that was the simple for loop, and the second output was with help of reduce function. Okay, now what is the benefit is you can do anything here in this function. Okay, if you want to say just print me, then you will be able to see the cumulative value how it is getting processed, right? You run the program again, you see first element as a 1 into the first argument, then as a second argument it is taking 4. Okay, so this is the process of this reduce functions. It always take first two number as a first argument, right? First two element as a first argument, then the result of the first two argument will be passed to the first argument for the second step, right? So you have more control over here, right? Now let's see what is our second point. We can do the same thing with help of lambda keyword. What we will do, we will remove this function and we will do the same thing, this expression in the same statement, in the same reduce statement we'll be doing that, right? How we will do, let's see. You can copy the same statement. So what it will do, it is taking two arguments, right? Then doing the addition for both the arguments and returning it. Let's run the program. So you will find the same output for this line. Okay, if we have very small type of functions, so instead of creating new function, right, we can do the same thing in the same statement, right? In the same line we can do it very easy. Okay, let's see third point, reduce function to an empty list. Suppose we are passing by mistake a empty list to the reduce function, so what will happen? Let me take empty list. Okay, now if you run the program, so it will create type error, right? You see the type error. Okay, so we have to take care this thing. We should make sure whether we are passing the iterable which is having some items, right? Otherwise it will raise exceptions. You have to handle this exception. Okay, now let's see next point, finding the minimum and maximum value. So reduce function in Python can calculate minimum and maximum values from the iterable by comparing items within the given iterable. Okay, so how it will do? So what you have to do, you have to declare two functions for minimum and for maximum value, right? So how we can create two functions, let's see. We are returning a if a is less than b, else it will return b. Very simple for minimum. The same we have to do for getting maximum value. Very simple thing. Now let me say print, and then we can say maximum value, pass our maximum value function inside, and then our list object, okay, which we are targeting. The same thing we have to do for minimum. Okay, minimum value and minimum value function we have to pass accordingly. Let's run the program. What will be the outcome? Okay, this is the empty, that's why we are getting this error. Run again. Okay, this is the problem, right? We run the program again. You see the minimum value is 1 in this array. If you see, okay, this array, and the maximum value is 5. Okay, if you put one more value, right, and then again, so you will get the output accordingly, right? Maximum value is 45 and minimum value is still the same as a 1. All right, so this is the scenario we can get the benefit from reduce function, right? Okay, now let's see our next point. What is that? That is checking if all values are true, right? So we can do the same thing for all the values are true or not. What we have to do, we have to create a function, let's say def. We are saying bool. Here we are saying a, okay, or b. If this condition, either of the condition is true, it will be returning true, right? Okay, and instead of passing this L1, we can say just 1 1, right, 1, right, 0 1. So these are the boolean values we can set, right, either 0 or 1. So you run the program again. So you see any value is true because we have set many items as a 1. If you make all the items as 0, right, so it will print false. Okay, you see, if you say 1 in one of the element, then it will return true. Okay, the next point we can see, we will see check if all the values are true, right? So that was our sixth case which we covered here. Now we will see our fifth point, if all the values are true. Okay, so for all the values true, we can create one more function, right? Is all true, we can say, and then we say a and b. So if this condition is true, a and b are true, then it will return true, and all values true, we can say. So in this case it will return false, right, because we have both the values, right, true and false. Okay, so that was the previous case, but we have not changed the method. Right now this is fine, all value true. So you will see all values are not true. Okay, because we have multiple values as 0. If you put all values 1, let's say 1 1, then only it will return true, because we have checked the condition over here, a and b, right? You see, now it is coming true. Now move to our next point. What is that? Difference between map and reduce. Okay, it's a big question. Okay, it is asked in the interview, what is the difference between map and reduce, why we use map and why we use reduce. Okay, right, so let's see this point. After learning about reduce, right, so you might have gotten confused between reduce and map, right? The main difference between these two is that map is applied to every item of an iterable one at the time, right? And in a result an iterator is returned. Map function returns the iterator, right, not a single value. Okay, but here reduce function is returning a single value only. So this is the main difference. Okay, now it is clear. Let's see how map is worked. If you want to, let's say, get the cube for your given list, then how you can get the cube? So we'll be using, let's say, result, and then map, we will be using lambda, and then we can say x, we are going to say it's for cube, and then L1, right? This is our data source, or you can say our data source like this. Now what we'll do, we will convert the list, and then we will put our result into that, then run the program. So you will see the cube for these items, right? the Q42 is 8, the Q45 is 125, the Q46 is 216. You see the output, if you notice, it is returning as a iterable object, right? And this reduce is returning as a string only, right? If you see its documentation, then it will tell us, so it will return a single value, right? Okay. Reduce function applies a function to the items in an iterable and reduce item to a single cumulative value, right? It is returning a single cumulative value always. Anywhere if you see, so it will always return single value. Python's reduce functions performs various common problem like addition or multiplication of numbers in iterables. So it will solve this kind of problems.
In this tutorial, you will learn how to use range function in Python. Python's built-in range function is mainly used when working with for loops. You can use it to loop through certain blocks of code a specified number of times, right? I have some code handy to explain you which blocks I'm talking about. So in this for loop, you could consider these two lines as a block. Okay. So we are executing these two lines 5 times, right? If you're in the program, you will see 5 items in the output window. Range function returns a sequence of numbers starting from 0, incrementing by 1, and ending at the value you specify as stop, which means we have 3 arguments. We can say start, stop, step. If you use range function for I in range, I want to specify just stop at 10 and then print I. If you're in the program, so you will see 10 elements will be shown in the output, right? 0 to 9. Okay. So range function always start from 0 by default. Okay. If you say I want to stop at 5, so it will stop at 5, right? It will show you 5 elements, but last index would be the number of items minus 1 always. You can take this range in some other variables, right? This is also another way to use range function. It will work same as if you want to see what is the type of RG, so it would be a range type, class range, right? Class range type. Okay. So if you want to start from 5 and you want to stop at 50 and you want to step, for example, 1, it means it will step with one value, means all items will be shown into the output, right? This range function will generate all items, right? Starting from 5 to 50. Okay. If I run the program, so you will see the 50 elements right here on the output window, right? Which starts from 5, right? And we stopped at 49, right? Which means length minus 1 would be the last index. Okay. 1 means we are showing all elements. Step means how many values we are going to skip with, right? If I make it 2, so it will show you like 5, 7, 9, 11. If I make it 5, so it will skip 5 elements. All these parameters are not mandatory. Only mandatory parameter is the stop one, right? This one. Start and step parameters are optional one. We can use range function in a different way also with help of list. If you want to create L1 and you say list and you just pass on this range into the list, so this will work same as, right? L1. If you're in the program, so you will see all your elements are shown into this window, right? Like that. This is a list type of object L1, but it is getting used with range function, right? This range. We have the same range here and there. I have some scenarios where we can understand this range function better. So in the first statement, you see, if I print it, so it will show you the 10 elements, right? In this list. If you're in the program, so you will see 0 to 9, right? Which means this is a stop parameter, which is mandatory to pass on, right? The second statement, we are saying we want to start from 1, we want to stop at 11, right? So if you print, so this is start, this is stop. So we will get range from 1 to 11 means 1 to 10 elements will be printed. Okay, another example we have here. We are saying we wanted to start from 0, we want to stop at 30, but we want to step in with 5, which means it will skip 5 elements, right? If you're in the program, so you will see 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, right? Okay, another example, we want to start from 0, stop at 10, and step would be 3, right? So 3 sequence will be skipped, right? 0 to 9 in this range. We can also use the negative values here. We want to start from 0, we want to stop at minus 10, our step value would be minus 1, right? 0 to minus 9, you see, if you make it 2, so you will get, we have skipped some sequences, right, on basis of this value. Minus 2, minus 4, minus 6, minus 10, it will stop at minus 10, right? So if you print, so it will not print anything, right? We are saying we wanted to stop at 0, right? If you're in the program, so it will give you the blank list. Okay, so this is again, it will not create any of the element.
That brings us to the end of the today's video. We hope you found it informative and engaging. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content on all things tech related. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.